So rate rationalization, we must understand, will not automatically deliver buoyancy and will not automatically lead to increase in revenues. Now, what is the likely loss from this revenue? Government of India has not officially shared with us any estimate of the loss of revenue likely to arise from this rate rationalization proposal. Various private institutions and public institutions and experts have estimated that the revenue loss will be in the range of 85,000 crores to 2.5 lakh crores. I repeat, losses are likely to be in the range of 85,000 crores going up to 2.5 lakh crores. Reasonable estimates one may deduct from this would be somewhere between 1.5 lakh to 2 lakh crores would be the likely revenue loss from this rate rationalization. And some friends point out that, well, if the states are going to lose, center may also lose. The center will be equally concerned about this. Without getting into the details, I would just point out that 7% of this loss will be incurred by the states. 71% of this loss will be incurred by state. I will not get into the details of explaining how that works out. I request you to go with the estimate that 71% will be lost by the states. Each state is likely to lose 15 to 20% of their current GST revenues. Each state is likely to lose about 15 to 20% of their current GST revenue. You may say that the center also will lose. Let me point out, GST contributes about 28% of Government of India's gross tax revenue. So GST contributes 28%, meaning central government gets 72% of its revenues from other sources like direct taxes, income tax, customs, dividends from various public institutions like RBI, dividends from petrochemical companies. So 72% and various cesses. As you know, Government of India gets close to 17-18% of its revenue from various cesses, and not a single paisa of that cess is shared with any state. However, if 28% is the contribution of GST to central government, however, the states rely on GST for 50% of their revenues. So on a 50% base, if a state government loses 20% of that, then it is going to seriously destabilize the fiscal structure of the state's governments itself. I repeat, if 20% loss is there in GST revenues, it will destabilize the fiscal structure of the very state government across the state, across the country. In the meantime, let me also point out that the current NDA government, its own report that was placed in the GST Council, had estimated that before GST, the net rate of taxes, indirect taxes in the country, was about 14.4%, meaning the state VAT and the central excise combined, the net rate of taxation was about 14.4%. So hence, a recommendation was made that with the introduction of GST, a revenue neutral rate of 14% should be maintained in GST. However, from the very introduction, the revenue neutral rate was not maintained, it was brought down at the introduction of GST itself. And over 17 rounds of rate cuts, the revenue neutral rate is no more revenue neutral rate. Actually, the net rate of taxation has come down from 14.4 to about 11% today. And with the current proposal of rate rationalization, it will come down by another 0.5, 0.6, 0.8%. So the current rate of taxation may come down to about 10% if the with the rate rationalization proposal. So we started with 14.4% taxation in the country before GST. We are around 11% today, and with the rate rationalization, the rate will come down to 10%. So hence the link between the loss of revenue and rate cuts. Now, what do we propose? Before we lay out our proposal, I want to point out that when GST was introduced in 2017, a compensation mechanism was introduced along with the GST. Now, what did the compensation proposal lay out? The compensation proposal laid out that states will be compensated for their losses till GST revenues are stabilized. I repeat, this is a crucial word I urge you all to understand. Compensation, though a 5-year period was coded, but the original proposal was that states will be compensated for GST losses till GST is stabilized. However, when the compensation was terminated in 2022, most of the states suffered a revenue cliff, a revenue fall of 25% of their GST. So with a 25% drop between 2022 and 2023, how can anyone say that the GST has stabilized? When in 1 year, your revenues have dropped by 25%. Under what understanding of language and under what understanding of law can anyone infer that GST has stabilized? By no means. All the states agree that GST has not stabilized because revenues post GST are nowhere closer to revenues before GST. This is the situation states are facing. Between 22 and 24 financial years, the states GST as a ratio of their GSDP dropped from 3.7 to 2.8% between 22 and 24, these 2 financial years. So there was already one fiscal cliff that the states have suffered, and this rate rationalization will deliver another fiscal cliff, which, as I stated earlier, will structurally destabilize the fiscal health of states. Hence, we come to the proposal part. We are for rate rationalization. I repeat, all states here agree that we are for rate rationalization. However, at the same time, I repeat, the state's revenue interests should be protected. Now, why? You may insist on asking why. Constitution has given 2/3 of the development and welfare responsibilities to the state governments. I repeat, Constitution has entrusted 2/3 of the welfare and development responsibilities on the state governments. However, 2/3 of the revenues are entrusted to the central government. So there is a structural imbalance built into this. The responsibilities are majority are with the state government, but majority of the revenues are with the central government. Now, people depend on the effective functioning of state governments for their welfare needs and for the development needs. Central government has a contribution, I do not deny, but at the forefront, at the touch point, at the interaction point, it is the state governments which are leading the development of their states and which are leading in ensuring welfare of the people. Each state government has its own priorities, and each state government has its own different schemes also. However, they are all designed with the interest of the people in mind as per the needs of the each respective state. So, if there is a fiscal cliff, there is a serious loss to the state governments, people will be badly impacted ultimately. I request you all to empathize with this proposition. Yes, we are all here. Rate rationalization is also a benefit to the people, we don't deny. But ultimately, if the state governments are unable to discharge their constitutional responsibilities of welfare and development, again people are going to be affected. The losers will be the people. Number two, in a federal structure like ours, state autonomy is very important. And for the autonomously, a steady and reliable source of revenue is equally important for the state governments to function effectively. If the state government's hands are tied, if their fiscal powers are truncated, limited, and if the state government has to stand in front of the central government to run its own government, then the meaning does not remain in the word autonomy. Autonomy just remains a word and the spirit will be violated. So we want federalism, fiscal federalism, cooperative federalism to work not just in words but in spirit. And if it has to work in the spirit, then fiscal autonomy of the states is of equal importance. Without fiscal strength, fiscal autonomy, no state government can discharge the welfare responsibilities and developmental needs of the state. And if the states do well, the country will also do well. Some progressive states are generating far more revenue and contributing to the central exchequer, and in fact contributing to other states which may not be doing so well. So if those states do well, the entire country benefits, because they develop the human capacity required, they develop the infrastructure required, they produce goods and services that are required by every Indian. So it is in the larger interest that the states continue to perform well, then the whole country will do well. This is why protecting the state revenues are very important. So hence, all this is in the nature of background I have explained, so that you all understand where we are coming from. So ultimately, what are we asking? We are eager to work with union government. We are eager to work with all state governments constructively and towards positive outcome, not only for the states, for the center, not just for the state and center, but also for the common people of the country. In return, again, I repeat, we only are seeking compensation for the loss of revenue likely to arise from rate rationalization. So I repeat, we are seeking compensation for the loss likely to arise to state governments due to rate rationalization. We together discussed this issue at length. We have also come up with a proposal which all the 8 states would be officially requesting GST Council to take up for discussion in its meeting on the 3rd and 4th. So we are placing a form of proposal so that all these issues can be discussed and a mechanism of compensation can be worked out. There are ways where the compensation can come from within the GST itself. Say compensation, they are not meaning that the compensation has to necessarily come from the central exchequer. Because in the past, when GST compensation was introduced in 2017, it came from within the GST itself, the central of compensation. So there is an opportunity to levy an additional levy in the GST while maintaining the current rates as they are without increasing the rates, and use this additional levy to compensate the states for the losses. So we are urging by way of a proposal for an additional levy, and the revenues from that additional levy should go exclusive to the state governments. And let me repeat, the levy that we are suggesting is not going to increase the rates that are there today. It is within the rates that prevail today. Maybe in some exceptions, in some of the sin goods, there may be a proposal to increase the total tax, but barring that, by and large, there will be no increase due to additional levy. So this is what we have discussed today, and we have also come up with a resolution in line with this today, that all 8 states have agreed to this resolution, and we have made available a copy of the resolution to all of you, and we seek that this compensation protection should be there. But even at the end of 5 years, we will have to look at the stability of revenues for the state and take a call to extend at that point. Bare minimum is 5 years. If the revenues have stabilized by then, we can then reconsider. But if the revenues have not stabilized even at the end of 5 years, we will have to reconsider the need for compensation at that point. So this is the sum and substance of our discussions, and we are, again, I repeat, we are eager and happy to work constructively with central government and all states and for benefit. And also ask, before you ask, I will address that issue, why only 8 states? It is an issue that affects, and some of ministerial colleagues from other states who are not present here, and officer colleagues from those states actually are depending on us to raise this voice. And I suggested that we speak up, because they have their own situations. I don't speak for them. However, this is a concern that affects every state, and fiscal health of every state is as important for national progress as any other criteria. So what we have gathered here is on behalf of all states, though some states may be here, some states are not here, but we speak for everybody, irrespective of the party. It is a federal issue, it's an issue of autonomy, and it's an issue of cooperative federalism, and I hope, and we all hope, that the central government will engage with us constructively towards beneficial outcomes for all. I would now request honorable ministers to add, if they want to add something to this.
Namaste, Radhakrishnan Kishore, Finance Minister, Jharkhand. सारी बातें जीएसटी के ऊपर श्री कृष्णा गौड़ा जी ने आपके समक्ष रखा है। मैं झारखंड की ओर से ये बात कहना चाहता हूँ कि जीएसटी जब पूरे देश में इम्प्लीमेंट हुआ तो 8 वर्षों के बाद उसमें जो संशोधन किया जा रहा है और ये बताया जा रहा है कि इसको रेशनलाइज किया जा रहा है, तो झारखंड को ऐसा लगता है कि वर्ष 2017 में जो जीएसटी लागू किया गया था वो रेशनल नहीं था क्या? मैं ये मानता हूं कि हमारा स्टेट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग स्टेट है। झारखंड में पर कैपिटा इनकम बहुत कम है देश की तुलना में। हमारे यहाँ एलाइड एग्रो सेक्टर और एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर, एजुकेशन सेक्टर की अगर बात करें तो जो हमारा ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो है वो बहुत ही पुअर है। हमारे मुख्यमंत्री श्री हेमंत सोरेन जी चाहते हैं कि हमारे पास ऐसे आर्थिक मजबूती हो ताकि हम इस राज्य को आगे ले जाएं, सामाजिक रूप से और आर्थिक रूप से। मैंने अभी बैठक में ये बात कही है कि हिंदुस्तान इसलिए मजबूत है कि हमारे यहाँ सोशल यूनिटी है तो आर्थिक मजबूती भी है। बिना सामाजिक एकता और आर्थिक मजबूती के यह देश विश्व के स्तर पर मजबूत नहीं हो सकता है। लेकिन जिस तरह केंद्रीय सरकार आर्थिक रूप से जीएसटी के माध्यम से इस देश को कमजोर कर रही है, इसका इम्पैक्ट हिंदुस्तान के यूनिटी पर, सोशल यूनिटी के ऊपर पड़ेगा और हम कमजोर होंगे। इसलिए मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि ये बात गौड़ा साहब ने बहुत सांकेतिक रूप में आपके सामने रखा है। मैं थोड़ा उसे और ओपन करना चाहता हूं। यह ना समझें कि ये सिर्फ 8 राज्यों का मामला है। फर्क यही है कि बीजेपी लेड स्टेट गवर्नमेंट वो बोलने की स्थिति में नहीं है, लेकिन वो भी चाहते हैं कि उनका जो लॉस होने वाला है स्टेट का, वो लॉस की भरपाई हो। वो बोल नहीं पाते हैं, लेकिन जैसा कि श्री कृष्णा जी ने कहा, पूरे इंडिया को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं। इसलिए ये एकदम कदापि हमारे मीडिया के सम्मानित प्रतिनिधिगण यह न समझेंगे कि ये सिर्फ संख्या में 8 है, बल्कि पूरे देश की बात यहाँ की जा रही है। मैं इतना जरूर कहना चाहूँगा इस अवसर पर कि जो प्रस्ताव 8 राज्यों के फिनेंस मिनिस्टर या जो इसमें भाग लेने के लिए आए, अन्य विभाग के मिनिस्टर जो इसमें पार्टिसिपेट थे, हम जो प्रपोजल दे रहे हैं ये डेमोक्रेटिक है, सोशल इंटरेस्ट में है, स्टेट के डेवलपमेंट के इंटरेस्ट में। लेकिन 3 और 4 तारीख को जो बैठक होगी, अगर स्टेट और कंट्री के इंटरेस्ट में हमारी बातें अगर नहीं सुनी जाएंगी तो निश्चित रूप से झारखंड ये चाहेगा कि हम डेमोक्रेटिक रास्ता अख्तियार और आगे भी करेंगे। मैं साफ शब्दों में कहना चाहता हूं कि एक प्रस्ताव भारत सरकार ले आए और जीएसटी काउंसिल की बैठक में अगर वो चाहे कि हम इसे पारित कर ले, तो मैं इतना जरूर कहना चाहता हूं आपके माध्यम से देश और राज्य के लोगों को कि यह देश, यह राज्य रबड़ स्टाम्प नहीं बनेगा। हम अपनी बात को बहुत ही मजबूती के साथ रहेंगे और अंत में झारखंड ये जरूर चाहेगा। बहुत लॉस हुआ है जब हम सेल टैक्स के माध्यम से रेवेन्यू जनरेट करते थे और जीएसटी में चूंकि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग स्टेट होने के नाते बहुत प्रभाव पड़ा है, हम बहुत कमज़ोर हुए हैं इकोनॉमिकली। इसलिए जैसा कि हमारे कर्नाटक के श्री कृष्णा गौड़ा जी ने कहा कि 5 वर्षों के लिए हम सहमत हैं, 5 वर्षों के लिए। लेकिन झारखंड की ओर से हम कहना चाहेंगे कि जीएसटी कंपनसेशन तब तक बढ़ाया जाए जब तक कि केंद्र सरकार के द्वारा समीक्षा के बाद यह न जान कि अब कल मजबूत हो चुका है इस राज्य का, तब अब इसे कंपनसेशन की आवश्यकता नहीं है। इसलिए 5 वर्षों का जो प्रतिबंध है या जो हमारा डिमांड है वो इंडिफिनिट पीरियड तक तब तक चलाया जाए जब तक सेंट्रल को ये विश्वास ना हो जाए कि ये स्टेट अब जीएसटी कंपनसेशन लेने का अधिकार नहीं रखता।
Only one or two things I add, sentences. This is a very important, historically very important meeting to strengthen the cooperative federalism of the country. Because we are speaking for almost all states, not only for 8 states which are attending here. All the details were given here by Sri Krishna Gowda ji, and Kishore ji also spoke. See, there is a sharp decline, and being a union of states, union have to strengthen the states, and if both are not cooperating, it will affect our country. All the details within minimum time it was given. The example of Kerala I can give only one thing. As GST has already is started, and it is this the 8th year. And if the 14% assured growth was given, last year our income would have been 54,000 crores from GST. But actually we are getting only 32,000 crores. And if GST was not there from the earlier sale tax or VAT regime, we would have got 51,000 crores last year. So after the GST introduction, as per expectation, 14% was per year growth. 54,000 we expected, it is not there. Around 22,000 crores is less. And the earlier system, if it was there, that was also giving the same something same like this. So every state is affected like this. It is already given the data 25% or more. So this is the situation, and for strengthening the country, 2 points are already it is stated here. One, it should be given, the benefit should, rationalization should be there, but states have to be protected for their revenue. The earlier revenue growth should be there. Second, the benefit should go to the common people and consumers. So every state is having this experience. That is what, from Kerala's point of view, also I am saying. So this is a very historical important thing. I hope that the union government will take very serious introspection into the details of this GST in the coming meeting.
नमस्कार, मैं राजेश धर्मानी हिमाचल से. Mr. Krishna Gowda took this initiative to organize this meeting, and we all 8 states agree to the proposal that we should put forward our case before the union government. That is, all the affecting states, in fact, all affected by rationalization, although we do agree to the proposal that should be rationalized, but we should be compensated as well. Before starting this GST regime, our tax growth was at the rate of 16%, which reduced now to 5 to 7% slab. So we are not being compensated enough, and that is affecting our social welfare schemes as well as our local developmental schemes, overall infrastructure developmental programs. तो ये तो एक बात है कि हमें कंपनसेशन मिलना चाहिए. दूसरा है कि जो जीएसटी रैशनलाइजेशन है, दैट शुड नॉट रिजल्ट इनटू प्रॉफिटियरिंग ऑफ सम few companies. I think this initiative might be moved by some vested interested business people. It is our apprehension, and there is no mechanism suggested by finance ministry, union government, that how they will ensure that this GST rationalization will result into overall price reduction that will benefit the consumers. So we will be demand that so that this GST rationalization should transfer to the benefit of common people. ये हम इंश्योर करना चाहेंगे। दूसरा, हिमाचल एक हिल स्टेट है, क्लाइमेटिक चेंजेस की वजह से वी आर द वर्स्ट, वी कैन से हिट बाय द climatic changes. We are experiencing cloud burst as well as high speed glacier melting. उसकी वजह से फ्लैश फ्लड्स और उसकी वजह से आ रहा है। ये इम्पैक्ट जो है ग्लोबल जो चेंजेस हैं, क्लाइमेटिक चेंजेस है, उसकी वजह से आ रहा है। तो देयर शुड बी सम मैकेनिज्म दैट वी शुड बी कंपनसेटेड टू प्रोवाइड इको सर्विसेज टू whole the nation as well as our neighboring countries or whole the global community. अभी जो जीएसटी रैशनलाइजेशन का इन्होंने प्रपोज किया है, आई थिंक देयर शुड बी वन मोर स्लैब दैट रेड कैटेगरी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनीज, industry, red category industry, they should have different slabs which are impacting adversely to the environment. और ये स्लैब जो है इसमें मिसिंग है, तो हम उसकी तरफ भी हम ध्यान जो है आकर्षित करना चाहेंगे, क्योंकि वी आर स्मॉल स्टेट, सो वी शुड आल्सो बी हर्ड, वी हैव डिफरेंट कंसर्न्स. So again I thank Mr. Krishna Bairegowda ji and all the colleague ministers from its states, and these concerns are definitely the other states will also share. They might not be able in a position due to some political reasons to flag their issues, but it's concern of all the states. We are in a federal structure, and it's our duty to protect our spirit of the constitution. So it's a right move, and we will put forward our case before the GST Council. Thank you very much.
The need and the purpose of this meeting has been adequately explained by the Honorable Finance Minister of Karnataka. From Tamil Nadu's point of view, I would like to reiterate that while we are all for the rationalization of GST rates, while we welcome it, we are here to reiterate our stand that the compensation for the states for the likely losses which might arise out of this rationalization exercise should be Tamil Nadu or for any other states, for all the states in fact. And we urge the center that the benefits of the rationalization, rate rationalization, should be transferred to the end users, that is the consumers, for the common people. At the same time, the state's interests, the revenue interests of the states, has to be protected. For the state of Tamil Nadu, I would like to say that we are now doing a lot of infrastructural projects as well as the social welfare schemes. And if there is any revenue about one of our tax revenues, or if there is going to be any reduction in this, will have a direct bearing and impact and an adverse impact on the ongoing schemes which are being now implemented in the state of Tamil Nadu. So we would like to urge the center that the interests, the revenue interests of the states need to be protected at any cost. At the same time, the benefits of the rationalization should be conveyed to the common public, and that is our stand.
सबसे पहले मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं कर्नाटका के रेवेन्यू मिनिस्टर कृष्णा गौड़ा जी का, क्योंकि जब लास्ट ग्रुप ऑफ मिनिस्टर की मीटिंग थी, फैसला किया था कि हम जीएसटी काउंसिल की मीटिंग से पहले बैठेंगे और बैठ के इस पे चर्चा करेंगे कि रेट रैशनलाइजेशन आने के बाद स्टेटों के रेवेन्यू में क्या लॉस होगा, क्योंकि लगभग आज 8 साल हो चुके हैं देश में जीएसटी को इम्प्लीमेंट हुए। इन 8 साल में लगभग 27 टाइम, 8 साल में 27 टाइम जो है वो हम एक्सरसाइज कर चुके हैं एग्जम्पशन के ऊपर। 27 टाइम हम एग्जम्पशन दे चुके हैं और 15 टाइम्स हम तब मतलब लगातार हैं उनका रेवेन्यू लॉस कंटिन्यू हो रहा है। एवरी स्टेट का, चाहे वो बीजेपी के स्टेट हो, चाहे अन्य पार्टी के स्टेट हो, सभी का रेवेन्यू लॉस कंटिन्यू जारी है। इसका मतलब जीएसटी सिस्टम में कहीं ना कहीं ये उतना कामयाब नहीं है जितना वैल्यू एडेड टैक्स सिस्टम था। जो जीएसटी के पहले का सिस्टम राज्यों का था, वो इसका मतलब इससे ज्यादा में, वो बीजेपी के राज हो, चाहे आप गोवा की बात कर लो, महाराष्ट्र की कर लो, किसी भी राज्य की कर लो, सभी की हालात जो है पतली पड़ी है। इतनी बार अमेंडमेंट होने के बाद भी हम अपना रेवेन्यू क्यों नहीं बढ़ा पाए? तो हम मैन के आम आदमी और कहता हूं ये ना हो जैसे सभी मंत्रीगण ने अभी अभी अपना ये बताया है कि ये तो नहीं हो रहा कि ये बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियों को महंगाई जो इसका मतलब कि लगातार हमारा पिछले 8 लाख जो है वो पंजाब को हुआ है। 1,11,000 स्टेट ऑफ पंजाब का हुआ, जिसमें 60,000 जो है के थ्रू के थ्रू पंजाब को मिला। इसमें कोई 4 करोड़ रुपए का लॉस पिछले 8 साल में पंजाब की इकोनॉमी को हुआ है। इसकी भरपाई कौन कर पाएगा? जब कोई भी कट लगाना हो तो पंजाब को लगा दो। तो मेरा मानना है कि इसको ठीक करना होगा। हम बिल्कुल जो रेट रैशनलाइजेशन का प्रपोजल आ रहा है उसके पक्ष में है, पर लेकिन इसका बेनिफिट जो है वो कॉमन मैन को जाना होना चाहिए। ये ना हो कि बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां उसमें घुस के अपना मुनाफा कमा लें, अपना पैसा कमा लें, और जो कॉमन मैन है उसके ऊपर महंगाई की मार। और यही हो रहा है पिछले लगभग 10-15 साल में यही हो रहा है कि महंगाई बढ़ती जा रही है और स्टेटों का रेवेन्यू जो है वो कम होता जा रहा है। स्टेटों का रेवेन्यू किसी भी स्टेट का छोड़ दो, जो हम जितने स्टेट यहां बैठे इनको छोड़ दो आप एनालिसिस करने के लिए, इनका बिल्कुल किसी का एनालिसिस मत करो। जाके महाराष्ट्र का कर लो, हरियाणा का कर लो, राजस्थान का कर लो और यूपी का कर लो, और सभी राज्यों का रेवेन्यू लगातार कम हो रहा है। तो ये मैं समझता हूं देश के फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर के लिए एक बहुत बड़ा खतरा है। ये बहुत, इससे देश को बचाना होगा। हम बिल्कुल देश के साथ हैं, देश के साथ चट्टान की तरह खड़े हैं, पर लेकिन जितनी भी रेट रिडक्शन हो रही हैं, जितनी भी रेट रिडक्शन हो रही हैं, उसका बेनिफिट कॉमन मैन को जाना चाहिए और महंगाई की मार कम होनी चाहिए। ये ना हो कि आपने पान मसाले पे कम कर दिया तो उसके बाद कोई बड़ी कंपनी आई पान मसाले वाली, वो प्रॉफिट कमा के निकल गई और आम आदमी को क्या फायदा हुआ भाई? तो ये सभी पे है, मैं समझता हूं खुल के चर्चा होनी चाहिए। और मुझे ये भी नहीं पता कि क्यों नहीं विद इन आवर उनको 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 खत्म कर दिया गया कि आप जल्दी जल्दी, क्योंकि देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी ने बोल दिया कि हम 2 स्लैब लाते चाहते हैं। हम तो चाहते हैं 1 स्लैब ले आओ, हमें क्या, 1 ले आओ, 2 की बजाय 1 ले आओ, पर लेकिन उसका फायदा कॉमन मैन को तो हो ना। ये तो नहीं कि बहुत जिन बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियों को फायदा हो जाए और कॉमन मैन मर जाए। तो मैं बार बार उसी बात पे जोर दे रहा हूं कि कॉमन मैन की प्रोटेक्शन होनी चाहिए और स्टेट के रेवेन्यू की प्रोटेक्शन होनी चाहिए, और कंपनसेशन के रूप में या और कोई रूप जो मेथड है, जो कोई और मैकेनिज्म है, स्टेटों का रेवेन्यू कर सके। स्टेटों की अपनी बहुत सारी स्कीम्स हैं, बहुत सारी वेलफेयर स्कीम जो है वो स्टेटों की काम करती हैं, क्योंकि हम तो पंजाब एक एग्रेरियन स्टेट है। पंजाब देश का में अब तक जब से देश एनालिसिस कर लिया, कंट्रीब्यूशन देश की फुटबॉल में पंजाब में किया है। और जब भी कभी, चाहे वो पाकिस्तान हो, जब चाइना हो, जब भी कभी उनके साथ हमारा झगड़ा हुआ है, लड़ाई हुई है, तो सबसे ज्यादा किस स्टेट के लोगों की जान गई है, किन स्टेट के लोगों ने देश के लिए कुर्बानी दी है, वो भी पंजाब है। तो उसमें भी पंजाब नंबर 1 में आता है। तो मैं चाहता हूं कि जो भी मैं उस पर जाना नहीं चाहता, मैं तो यही आपके थ्रू सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को हम रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं कि प्लीज जो भी हम रेट रैशनलाइजेशन के थ्रू लेके आना चाहते हैं, 2 स्लैब लेना चाहते हैं, आप उसका स्वागत करते हैं हम उसका, पर लेकिन उसका बेनिफिट कॉमन मैन को जाए और स्टेटों का रेवेन्यू प्रोटेक्शन होना चाहिए, और जो हमें ऑलरेडी वो भी किसी न किसी रूप में स्टेटों को मिलना चाहिए, ताकि स्टेटों की इकोनॉमी जो है वो बिल्कुल खड़ी रहे। ये ना हो कि स्टेट आपके खत्म हो जाए। बीजेपी वाले तो बेचारे बोल नहीं सकते, क्योंकि किसी को पड़ा है कि हमारी जाएगी, हमारे मुख्यमंत्री की कुर्सी चली जाएगी, पर लेकिन वो बोलते नहीं है। गौड़ा जी भाई हमारी आवाज आप उठा देना, हम तो बोल नहीं सकते, तो वो तो मजबूर हैं, पर लेकिन भी आवाज लोगों को बताएंगे कि भारतीय राज्य पार्टी वाले स्टेट भी बुरी तरह उनकी इकोनॉमी भी तहस नहस हो रही है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Friends, I am Bhatti Vikramarka, Deputy Chief Minister, Telangana. I think you all might have understood what all our colleague ministers expressed the concern about the rates rationalization and its impact on the state revenues. We are all, it has become a compulsion on all of us to states, not any individual's interest. Cooperative federalism, federal spirit has to be country to strengthen the unity of the country also. For any state to have its own administration and development and welfare activities, taxation also. While welcoming the rates rationalization, we also have been expressing the states, the losses, what all that they are going to face, has to be properly compensated. Otherwise, each state, as my friend Krishna Bhaira Gowda ji said, each state is having its own requirement, social requirement and developmental requirements also. Each state has designed and planned their own welfare programs and infrastructure programs basing on the envisaged revenue resources. Suddenly, each state gets into the losses of not less than 7 to 10,000 crores. It will be very difficult for any state to go ahead with their planned infrastructure and welfare activities. For example, if you take the Telangana state alone, it is incurring nearing about 7,000 crores per annum. The GST, while introducing, the government of India has assured the 14% rate of growth will be there. If it is not there, it will be compensated by the government of India till the stabilization. But unfortunately, the stabilization has not taken place. Still, it is somewhere around 7 to 8% only. Even much before stabilization, that you are still bringing down to the much lesser growth rate will be a serious impact on the states and their growth. Keeping all these things, we all have come together today here to think about these states and their revenues and their problems. We all here to urge the government of India in the forthcoming council meeting, keep all these factors in their mind and take a view on rates rationalization without having any prejudice and a preferential kind of a treatment. As Krishna Bhaira Gowdaji expressed, the entire process and the situation in the country which is going to prevail in future also, that we all the 8 states have come together today, which has become a compulsion and historical necessity to bring out some common agenda with a proposal to the council to examine it and consider so that no state will get affected. Hope the government of India will definitely think in a positive way and consider the proposal, what all that we have proposed today. Take it forward so that it will suffer. And finally, all the states, though they are all having the pain in their heart, not able to express some of them, but for us, it has become a compulsion to raise the voice, not only our 8 states, for the entire, the states of this country. This is what we wanted to tell you. Hopefully, as our friend said, the rationalization benefits has to reach to the poorer sections of this country and the common man to this country, not to the specified, identified, corporate houses. Thank you.
We can
Sir,
take. Yeah.
sir, you had proposed in the resolution that there should be an additional levy within the GST framework to meet the revenue losses, because that is the major concern that you have actually cited. When we talk of this additional levy, since you're saying that you have worked up everything and this is a detailed worked proposal, where would you fit this additional levy? What will this additional levy be in terms of quantum? And on which items do you propose that this levy should be actually levied upon so that it can help addressing the revenue concerns And secondly, for how many years? 5 years or till the revenue stabilize?
We are not any increase in rates, except in very rare cases, some sin goods. So it is within the rate that is prevailing currently. There was a cess. The cess can be replaced by an additional levy, so that additional levy. Quickly on the second point, at least till 5 years, but all states equally strongly feel that till the revenue stabilize, which was what was the promise of GST, and it was a promise at the introduction of GST that revenue stabilization. So we are saying we can relook at it at the end of 5 years, but if the things improve by the end of 5 years, we are okay to look at alternative, but till the rate stabilize, till the revenue stabilize. No, it is within, that is for the council to decide. We are not proposing